I'm with Jason. We just met a few minutes ago. Jason talked a little bit about your background, youth pastor, that kind of thing. You have some questions about ministry.
Yeah, this question is definitely related to young leaders in ministry. Now, I know you were young when you helped start your church, 22. I'm about 27 right now. And there's moments where I feel very ready to go and excited and passionate, but there's some moments where it feels like, man, I don't want to just fall on my face in pursuing leadership and pursuing ministry. What are some of the things that helped you in particular succeed at such a young age pursuing church leadership?
I think probably, Jason, the key to everything was that I was surrounded by more mature people. So when we started our church, we had a group of elders. It seems funny to say that I was an elder at 22, but I was surrounded by people who were, at the time, what I thought was quite old, in their 40s, you know. And now that I'm 57, it doesn't seem, so old, but it did then. And our oldest elders were in their 50s. We didn't have anybody in their 70s, 80s, anything like that. But those mature people who had, lay people, who had walked in life in places where I never had, we would meet, we would talk, we would pray. And there was the oldest of our elders, Garland Gabbard, and I would sit near Garland next to him whenever I could at the elders meetings. And I just felt like I just wanted to soak in his wisdom. So surround yourself with older, wiser people. Get counsel. Scripture says in an abundance of counselors there is wisdom and there is victory. Be willing to put yourself in risky situations where, by risky situations, I don't mean involving temptation, but I mean risky ministry situations where you're taking a chance and saying, God, just speak to me, speak through me. I'm scared to death, but I've got to try this. Does that make sense?
No, that does. So you're at that young age and you're ministering to a church, you're playing the role of a pastor. How do you minister to people older than you, or do you just hands off and say, nope, that's for someone else, and I get everybody, younger? How do you kind of find that balance?
Well, certainly you can have delegated responsibilities with a youth group or whatever, so obviously you're primarily with the youth group. But as far as other people in the church, whenever you're given an opportunity to preach, and I would seek that out. I would not press for it, but I would say, hey, if you're willing, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be a great sermon. I haven't maybe preached to the congregation before. I've only done it a couple of times or whatever. But, you had a first time, and at some point I'd like to have a first time and learn from it, and then I'd like your feedback. Please meet with me afterwards and go over, here's what I do that's different. I recently had somebody mention to me that there was a young pastor in their church who had brought a message, and they said, I'm not quite sure that that's his gift. And I said, well, what do you think all the older pastors who you do think it is their gift, what do you think they sounded like the first time that they brought to the congregation? This guy might sound way better than they sounded, but they were given an opportunity. And one of the things I would do is when I took the opportunity, and I remember saying this a few times as a young man, to say, look, I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't had much experience in this, maybe none at all. All I know is God is God. This is His Word. I'm going to do my best. Please bear with me. Well, the moment you do that, you have people out there rooting for you. You have people who are on your side. He's recognized. It's not false humility, true humility. I mean, you need to mean it when you say it, of course. But then they're praying for you, and they're also understanding, because you know what? He was certainly right that he was going to make some mistakes, and indeed he did. But he said a lot of good things. I'm going to encourage him with the good things. And this is what people need. I've seen a lot of young pastors really discouraged as a result of the negative feedback that they've gotten, but really encouraged, as I was, when people said, Randy, when you said this and you said that, God spoke to you. I thought, wow, God spoke through me? Cool. And that encouraged me.
No, it's good.